Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Baby Channel. If you're here, you probably know how stressful a crying baby can be. Those little cries can really pull at your heartstrings. But here's the thing, you're not alone. Every parent goes through this. Let's face it, figuring out why your baby is crying can sometimes feel like trying to solve a mystery. Is it hunger, a dirty diaper? Maybe they're just feeling a little lonely and need some extra cuddles. It can be tough, especially in those first few months when communication is, well, let's just say, a bit one-sided. But you know what? You've got this. You are your baby's safe space, their rock, their everything. And trust me, even when it feels like you're fumbling in the dark, your love and presence are making a world of difference. Every parent has been there, pacing the floor at 2 a.m., trying to decipher those little baby noises. So in this video, I want to share some tried and true tips that have helped me, and countless other parents, soothe their crying babies. Now, I'm not claiming to have all the answers. Every baby is unique after all. But these are some practical strategies that you can try the next time your little one is feeling fussy. We'll cover everything from understanding the common reasons why babies cry to immediate soothing techniques that you can use right away. And because consistency is key, we'll also touch on some long-term solutions, like establishing routines and recognizing your baby's cues. So grab a cup of coffee, or maybe something a little stronger, get comfy, and let's dive in. Why do those tiny humans cry in the first place? There's always a reason behind those tears. Babies communicate through crying. It's their way of telling us they need something. Imagine you're in a foreign country where you don't speak the language. How would you get someone's attention if you needed help? That's what your baby is doing. A hungry cry might sound different from a tired cry. With patience, you'll pick up on those differences. Section 2. The Hunger Games. One of the most common reasons babies cry is hunger. Those little tummies digest food quickly, and they need to eat frequently, especially in the first few months. So, if your baby starts fussing, especially if it's been a while since their last feeding, hunger is a good place to start. Look for cues like rooting, turning their head towards your chest or a bottle, sucking on their hands, or smacking their lips. These are all telltale signs that your little one might be ready for a meal. And remember, every baby is different. Some babies are ravenous eaters, while others are more laid back. The important thing is to respond to your baby's cues and feed them when they're hungry, whether you're breastfeeding, formula feeding, or a combination of both. Section 3. The Comfort Zone. Now sometimes it's not about hunger at all. Babies can get fussy for a whole bunch of other reasons. Maybe they're feeling a little too hot or too cold. Maybe their diaper is wet and they're uncomfortable. Or maybe they're just feeling a little overstimulated and need some quiet time. Think about it. They've just spent 9 months all cozy and snuggled up in the womb. The outside world can be a big, bright, and sometimes overwhelming place. It's no wonder they crave that feeling of security and comfort. So, if your baby is crying and you've ruled out hunger, try checking their diaper, adjusting the temperature in the room, or simply holding them close and giving them some gentle rocking or swaying. Sometimes all they need is a little extra love and attention to feel safe and secure. Section 1. The Power of Touch. Okay, so you've fed your baby, checked their diaper, and made sure they're comfortable. But those little cries are still coming, and you're starting to feel a little desperate. Don't worry, we've all been there. Sometimes babies just need a little extra help to calm down. One of the most effective ways to soothe a fussy baby is through touch. Remember how I said they're used to being all cozy and snuggled up in the womb? Well, swaddling can help recreate that feeling of security. Think of it like a gentle hug that helps your baby feel safe and contained. It can also help prevent those jerky movements that sometimes startle babies awake. There are tons of different swaddling techniques out there, so experiment and find what works best for your little one. Another great soothing technique is rocking or swaying. It's like a built-in instinct for us to want to move our babies rhythmically, and there's a good reason for it. The gentle back and forth motion can be incredibly calming for babies. It's like a little dance that lulls them into a sense of peace and security. You can rock your baby in your arms in a rocking chair, or even just by swaying back and forth while holding them close. Experiment with different speeds and motions to find what your baby enjoys most. And don't worry about spoiling them. Holding and rocking your baby is one of the best ways to build a strong bond and let them know they're loved and cared for. Now, let's talk about sound. We're often told to keep things super quiet when a baby is sleeping. But did you know that white noise can actually be incredibly soothing for them? Think about it. Inside the womb, it's not exactly silent. Babies are used to hearing a constant stream of sounds, like your heartbeat, your digestion, and even the muffled noises of the outside world. White noise can help mimic those familiar sounds and create a calming atmosphere for your baby. There are lots of different white noise options out there. You can use a fan, a white noise machine, or even just download a white noise app on your phone. Experiment with different sounds and volumes to find what works best for your little one. You might be surprised at how quickly it can help them drift off to sleep. Sometimes the simplest solutions are the most effective, and when it comes to soothing a crying baby, good old-fashioned shushing can work wonders. It might sound a little silly, but trust me on this one. Shushing creates a rhythmic, repetitive sound that can be very calming for babies. It's like a gentle wave washing over them, helping to quiet their little minds and soothe their cries. Hold your baby close, tilt your head so your mouth is near their ear, and make a soft shh sound. You can experiment with different volumes and intensities to find what works best for your baby. And don't be afraid to get a little dramatic with it. Sometimes, a good, hearty shh is all it takes to break through those tears. While those immediate soothing techniques are lifesavers in the moment, let's talk about some long-term strategies that can help prevent those meltdowns in the first place. One word: routine. I know, it doesn't sound as exciting as a magic trick for stopping tears, but trust me, it can make a world of difference. Babies thrive on predictability. When they know what to expect, it gives them a sense of security and reduces anxiety. Think about it. We all feel better when we have a general plan for our day, right? It's the same for babies. Start by establishing a consistent daily routine for sleep, feeding, and playtime. Now, I'm not talking about a military-style schedule here. Be flexible. But having a general framework for your day can help your baby feel more settled and less likely to cry out of frustration or discomfort.
Know you've been a good friend, and that's in the thick and thin.
Speaking of routines, let's talk about feeding schedules. Remember how we talked about hunger being a major crying trigger? Well, having a consistent feeding schedule can go a long way in preventing those hunger-fueled meltdowns. Whether you're breastfeeding or formula feeding, try to feed your baby at roughly the same times each day. This doesn't mean you need to be a slave to the clock, of course. Watch for your baby's cues and be flexible. But having a general feeding routine helps regulate their hunger cycles and makes it easier to anticipate their needs. And let's be honest, a well-fed baby is a happy baby. Now, I know what you're thinking. Easier said than done, right? Babies can't exactly tell us what they need, can they? Well, not with words at least. But they do communicate with us in other ways through their own special language of cues and signals. Learning to recognize your baby's early cues can help you meet their needs before they escalate into a full-blown meltdown. For example, a baby who's getting hungry might start rooting, sucking on their hands, or making little lip-smacking noises. A tired baby might rub their eyes, yawn, or get a little fussy. By paying close attention to these subtle signals, you can often soothe your baby before they even start crying. It's all about learning their unique way of communicating. The most important thing is to trust your instincts. You know your baby better than anyone else. Don't be afraid to experiment with different techniques and strategies to find what works best for your little one. Being a parent is a journey, and it's full of ups and downs. There will be times when you feel like you've got this parenting thing down pat, and there will be times when you feel like you're fumbling in the dark. And that's okay. Just remember, you're not alone. Every parent goes through this. The fact that you're here, watching this video, tells me that you care deeply about your baby's well-being. And that's all that matters. You've got this, Mama. You know, now that we've talked about all these techniques, I wanted to share a little story about my own little one. When she was first born, she was, how should I put this? A bit of a crier. I mean, this little girl could belt it out like nobody's business. At first, I was completely overwhelmed. I tried everything, feeding, changing, rocking, you name it. But nothing seemed to work. I remember pacing the floor for hours, just desperate for a moment of peace and quiet. And for my little one to just stop crying. I felt like I was failing as a mom. I mean, shouldn't I be able to soothe my own baby? It was tough, really tough. I remember calling my own mom in tears, convinced I was doing something wrong. One day, my mom reminded me about swaddling. She swore by it when I was a baby. So I thought, why not give it a try? I'll admit I was skeptical at first. I mean, how could wrapping my baby up like a little burrito possibly make a difference? But let me tell you, it was like magic. As soon as I swaddled her up nice and snug, she calmed right down. It was like a switch had flipped. She stopped crying, those tiny fists unclenched, and she just looked up at me with these big, content eyes. I couldn't believe it. From that day forward, swaddling became my go-to soothing technique. It was like a miracle worker. Of course, every baby is different, but for my little one, swaddling was a game changer. Section 3. Finding our groove. It wasn't always easy though. There were still plenty of times when she cried and I felt lost and frustrated. But you know what? That's okay. Being a parent is a learning curve and every day is a new adventure. The important thing is to keep trying different things, to trust your instincts, and to remember that you're not alone in this journey. Eventually, we found our groove. We figured out what worked for us, what soothed her, and how to anticipate her needs. We learned to communicate in our own special way, even without words. And you know what I learned? Sometimes it's not about finding the perfect solution. Sometimes it's just about being present, being patient, and showing your baby that you're there for them, no matter what. Section 4. You've got this. So to all you parents out there battling those baby tears, I want to tell you, you've got this. It might not always be easy, but trust me, it's worth it. Every smile, every coo, every tiny milestone makes those sleepless nights and those endless cries fade into the background. And hey, if all else fails, there's always chocolate. Just kidding. Kind of. But seriously, give yourself grace. You're doing an amazing job. And remember, you're not alone. Wow, we've covered a lot of ground today. From those early days of deciphering baby cries to establishing routines and anticipating needs, being a parent is a constant learning process. It's messy, it's chaotic, and some days it feels like you're just trying to keep your head above water. But you know what? It's also the most incredible, rewarding, and love-filled experience in the world. Remember that adorable little baby we saw at the beginning? The one gurgling happily in their mother's arms? That's the goal, right there. And while we can't expect our little ones to be sunshine and smiles 24/7, wouldn't that be nice though? We can learn to navigate those choppy waters of crying and fussiness with a little more confidence and a lot more compassion. Think of all the tips and techniques we've talked about today as tools in your parenting toolbox. Some days you might need the gentle touch of swaddling. Other days, it might be the rhythmic lull of white noise or a good old-fashioned rocking session. And hey, sometimes it might be a combination of everything in the kitchen sink. The important thing is to have these tools at your disposal, ready to pull out whenever those little cries start to escalate. And remember, what works for one baby might not work for another. That's okay. Parenting isn't about finding a one-size-fits-all solution. It's about learning, adapting, and finding what works best for you and your little one. So the next time you're feeling overwhelmed by those baby cries, take a deep breath, remind yourself that you've got this, and reach for your parenting toolbox. You are strong, you are capable, and you are the best parent your little one could ask for. And hey, before you go, don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up if you found it helpful, and hit that subscribe button for more baby tips and tricks. Because let's face it, we can all use a little support on this crazy, beautiful journey called parenthood. And remember, this community is here for you. Share your experiences, your struggles, and your victories in the comments below. Let's support each other, learn from each other, and navigate this parenthood adventure together. Because as I always say, it takes a village. Until next time, happy parenting, everyone!